This is 21 Questions. It's a little trivia podcast that I do. My name's Mike van Acker, and for the past 22 years, nearly 23 actually, I've done thousands of trivia shows in pubs and clubs around the place, and now I'm in your phone, and I'm glad you're here. Let's play. Question 1. According to the nursery rhyme, when Jack from Jack and Jill fell down, what did he break? Look, Jack broke his crown, and I think whoever wrote that nursery rhyme was just looking for something that rhymed with down, because I've never said to anyone, oh, I'm a bit sore. Oh, really? What's wrong, mate? Oh, I've hurt my crown. You what now? I'm just saying it's a little bit dodgy. First, rhyme they could think of. Someone wasn't trying very hard that day, and here we are singing it hundreds of years later. Let's press on. Question 2. Which Canadian singer had a hit in 2013 with It's a Beautiful Day? That's Michael Bublé. I like that song. Question 3. Is Brad Pitt's official first name Bradley, Clive, or William? Brad Pitt's real first name is William. He's been lying to us all this time. Question 4. True or false? The redback spider is a direct relative of the black widow spider. Is that true? Is that false? That's true. They're related. I imagine they hang out, see each other at Christmas. Question 5. The expression can't take a trick, as in that poor guy, he can't take a trick, derives from what type of pastime? That's from card games, bridge, euchre. There's a number of trick-taking card games. Question 6. How many hurdles must be cleared in an Olympic 110-metre hurdle race? 10. There are 10 hurdles in a 110-metre hurdle race. Question 7. Does the eustachian tube link the human throat to the eyes, ears, or nose? Your eustachian tube links your throat to your ears. After question 7, we do the first clues for the Who Am I for the episode. Today, it's a TV show, something a little bit different. Who Am I? I debuted on American television in 1976 and became one of the defining action series of that decade. My central characters worked as private investigators, often taking on assignments that blended crime solving with high-stakes adventure and them going undercover. More clues coming up for that one after question 14. For now, though, question 8. Which stage musical has the characters Grisabella and Mr. Mistopheles? That's Cats, as in midnight, not a sound from the pavement. You get the idea. Question 9. What was the brand name of the toy die-cast cars on sale since 1953 and marketed for most of that time by Mattel? Here's a hint. They were quite small because they fit in a Matchbox. They're Matchbox cars, and they were inspired by the engineer Jack Ottle, who created the first one for his daughter to take to school because a rule was put in place at that school that toys had to fit inside a matchbox or you couldn't bring them into school. He said, right then, we'll show them. And he made a teeny tiny, like a road roller, like a bitumen roller, flatter thing. I don't know what they're called. What are those things called with a big roller? Probably roller. I'm just going to say roller. Let's move on. I've said roller way too many times this episode already. Question 10. Does the term squamata refer to A, lizards and snakes, B, South American fruits, or C, geology and rock formations? Look, I'll be the first to admit that is quite a random question for question 10 on a trivia podcast. Some of you listening to this before you've had a coffee, so it's a lot to ask. But squamata, S-Q-U-A-M-A-T-A, is to do with reptiles, lizards and snakes. So A was the answer. It's another word for scaled reptiles. Want to come over and see my squamata? Sure. And they'll show you their lizard. Nearly all of that is problematic. I'll keep it in. Question 11. True or false? In 2013, Oprah Winfrey was involved in a racism row after being denied access to a $40,000 handbag in an upmarket boutique in Switzerland. Is that true? Is that false? That's actually true. It's a good story. She was in Zurich going to Tina Turner's wedding, as you do. It was 2013. She goes into a shop. She goes, "I'd like to see that handbag, please." The sales assistant refused to show her the bag. She said, "It's too expensive. You won't be able to afford that." And instead she said, "Can I show you a cheaper bag?" It's got real Pretty Woman vibes to it, doesn't it? Although in Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts at the end didn't go to people, "You get a dress, you get a dress, you get a dress," whereas if this lady had a sold Oprah one, she might have bought 10 of them. Oprah is a bit like that. So quite a story, that's true. Question 12. What was the first name of the 19th century German philosopher and revolutionary whose last name was Marx and who said, "Religion is the opiate of the people," sometimes quoted as "religion is the opiate of the masses"? Who was that? That's Karl Marx. Having said that, if you said Groucho Marx, you're my kind of people, and that kind of behaviour gets you life membership around my house. That's question 12. Question 13. In which of the following words does the I come before the E in the spelling? I'm going to give you a little bit longer to think about this. I'll give you the question again so you can brace yourself. In which of the following words does the I come before the E in its spelling? Believe, receive, or deceive? That felt like quite a long gap. Did you get it? It's believe, B-E-L-I-E-V-E, versus receive, R-E-C-E-I, or deceive, D-E-C-E-I. Stick a V on the end there and we're all good. That's 13. Question 14. Here's a little bit of history for you. Did the Boxer Rebellion, which was between 1897 and 1901, take place in China or England? The Boxer Rebellion actually took place in China, and it was when all the peasants said, "We don't want to wear Y-fronts anymore. We insist on being allowed to wear boxers." And I swear that's how it happened. You don't need to look that up. Trust me, let's just move on. More clues for the Who Am I? It's the TV show. Who am I? A key feature of mine was that the team's employer was never fully seen on screen, communicating only through indirect means. My cast changed over the years, but each member was considered a sex symbol and style icon. More clues coming up after question 20, but I think a lot of you will know who that is. Question 15. Which Olympic sport is associated with the term piaffe? That's spelled P-I-A-F-F-E, and it looks like a French word to me. It's probably pronounced piaffe. I don't know. It's not piaffe. Anyway, it is dressage. Dressage on the horses, and piaffe means to trot in place. Delightful. Question 16. Which two actresses have played Lara Croft in big screen versions of Tomb Raider? Angelina Jolie, of course, in 2001 and 2003, and Alicia Vikander, but it could be pronounced Vikander. I don't know Alicia's work, can I tell you that? I haven't seen her in the 2018 reboot of Tomb Raider, or anything else, I don't think. Is she a famous person? Is she important? Should I know her? I don't. Question 17, we'll just move on. Is a giraffe's life expectancy in the wild closest to 5, 15, or 25 years? A giraffe in the wild can live 25 years, and that to me is a magnificent effort given the animals they're surrounded by, because really a giraffe's only real skill in defense is to run away. That's all it's got. All I really know about giraffes is that Michael Jackson had one for a little while. They took it off him. They said, "You have not got an appropriate shelter for this giraffe," and he said, "I didn't know they grew so tall." May have made that up. Question 18. Which 5-letter T word is used in the formation of musical chords and is also associated with Chinese organised crime networks? That'd be triad or triads. Question 19 on this podcast is always a still alive or not so much. I give you a name, you tell me if you think that person is still alive or not so much. Today, Bill Murray. Bill Murray, star of Stripes, Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, a whole heap of great comedies in the 80s and 90s, did some serious stuff later on. Is Bill Murray still alive or not so much? Bill Murray is still alive. He's only 75 years old. He'll be around for a long time yet. Question 20. Which singer found fame playing Hannah Montana in both the TV series and at least one movie? That would be Miley Cyrus. And I always say about Miley Cyrus, I was not much of a fan until I saw her on YouTube doing what they called the Backyard Session. She does a version of Dolly Parton's Jolene. Dolly Parton is her godmother, I think. Does a version of her song Jolene, and it made me go, oh, Miley, you are a bucket load of talent. You're awesome. Didn't know, changed my opinion about her. Final clues now for the Who Am I? Here we go. Who am I? I was later revived for cinema in the early 2000s with a cast that included Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. My title refers to a group of angels working for a man whose voice guided them, but whose face remained a mystery. I am, of course, Charlie's Angels. Charlie's Angels, good fun movies, and I vaguely remember the TV show, because in the 70s I was but a lad of 10 or 12. Anyway, whatever. That's enough of that. Now, that's the 21 questions that we ask every episode done. We go now to the 22nd question, which is a player question. That's where I invite you, the listener, if you choose to send me a trivia question that I can ask as part of this show. It's an interesting thing for me to see what sort of questions people pick. Last episode, Josh from the Gold Coast sent me, to what country is the Kumura sweet potato native? Now, it's known to be a popular thing in New Zealand, but it was actually brought to New Zealand by Polynesian settlers from South America. So I'm going to take South America as the answer, but I think a lot of people might say New Zealand. Good on you, Josh from the Gold Coast. That's quite a tricky question. This episode, this one's tricky too. Kim asks the question. Kim didn't tell me where she's from, by the way. Please feel free to tell me where you're from if you submit a question that I might mention it to the group. This episode, Kim asks, is the world's shortest international land border greater or less than 1 kilometre? Is the world's shortest international land border greater or less than 1 kilometre? Great question. I've never thought about that, Kim, but I shall tell the group next episode after I've Googled it. Now, if you would like to submit a trivia question for me, we're coming up to 50, where I'm going to do an episode made up entirely of player questions. This is episode 41. Send me some trivia questions that I can ask on this show. 2 ways to get them to me. Via my Facebook page, 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe on Facebook. The logo on that page is the pink one. That is on the podcast app you're listening to this podcast now, or on YouTube if that's what you're doing. Or you can email me, Mike, M-I-K-E, at triviatribe.com.au. I will acknowledge your message to let you know that I've got it, and you will hear your name getting a bit of a shout out and your question being asked in a future episode. Great! This podcast comes out every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, so meet me back here in a couple of days. We'll do it all again. My name's Mike van Acker. Thank you for playing along. I love you. Bye.